So I have a very strange story for you here. Take a look. Twitter bans Beto O'Rourke parody account called Beto's Blog. Twitter has banned a parody account mocking former Representative Beto O'Rourke, a possible 2020 Democratic presidential candidate, drawing howls from conservative media members. Fans of Beto's blog discovered late Tuesday that the account had been suspended. Twitter explained in an email shared by an unidentified woman behind the account that it had been permanently banned due to deceitful impersonation. Quote, "It has come to our attention that your Twitter account is in violation of the Twitter rules, specifically the policy on impersonation." The email, which was posted by Twitter user Comfortably Smug, who has more than 110,000 followers, reads, "Impersonation is pretending to be another entity in order to deceive and is strictly prohibited." It continues, "This account has been suspended and will not be restored. The decision by Twitter was criticized by some as going too far, while others accused the social media platform of selective enforcement of its terms of service, given that many other parody accounts exist for President Trump." Listen, let's be clear. It's not just... It's not just a right versus left thing, okay? It's not. It has to do a lot more with establishment versus non-establishment, or accepted versus not accepted, or populist versus moneyed interests. The first thing this reminded me of is Peter Douche. And a lot of you guys don't remember that, but Peter Douche, it was a parody account of Peter Dow. And Peter Dow was like the biggest Hillary Clinton sycophant on the planet. It didn't matter how specific you were with your criticisms of Hillary on policy grounds. He would accuse you of being sexist. He created Verret, which was a hilarious disaster, and it imploded in the most funny way imaginable. And this guy did a parody account of him because he's really easy to mock. And it got pulled down. And it wasn't restored. Even though it fucking said parody in the bio, it wasn't restored. Why? Because, listen, Peter Dow is cozy with the establishment. He's cozy with the powers that be. And so you get to flex muscle if that's the situation. Now, they do make a decent point about Trump. There are countless Trump parody accounts, and they're allowed up. And they should be. But by the same token, other parody accounts should be allowed up too. It's hard not to conclude that Beto O'Rourke is the darling of many moneyed interests. It really is, because, listen, he doesn't take corporate PAC money, and I'm happy he doesn't, but he does do big money bundling. And, a lot of stuff came out about his record that was horrendous that we didn't know early on when he was running against Ted Cruz. By the way, I'd still support him over Ted Cruz. That's a no-brainer. But certainly not for president if he runs for president. And by the way, this was created after Beto O'Rourke went to the dentist and recorded it. Live streamed his trip to the dentist. It was mockable because it was fucking stupid. Because you're trying too hard to be relatable where you're showing yourself at the dentist. Nobody would fucking live stream themselves at the dentist. It's so stupid. So that's when this account was created. For the record, I think that the people who created it, it's not even right-wingers. It's like actual lefties mocking this guy who's a liberal trying to fit in and be likable. So I think it's the left going after Beto O'Rourke here. Now, I could be wrong about that. Fact check me if I'm wrong about that, guys. Because I'm guessing. I think I've seen Comfortably Smug, I think, is a lefty Twitter account. I could be wrong, though. I'm really going off of, going back in the database there in the Twitter history to come to that conclusion. But either way, I don't care if it's a right-wing parody of Beto or a left-wing parody of Beto. Should you be allowed to parody Beto? Yes! Yes! And the fact that Twitter pulls down a parody account of Beto, but they don't pull down the parody accounts of Trump, means what? They're playing favorites. Now, again, I don't think a lot of people would just paint this as a right and left thing. I don't think it's a right and left thing, because I guarantee you they will allow parody accounts of leftists. They're not going to allow parody accounts of corporatist neoliberals, basically. They're not going to allow parody accounts of the centrists, the people who are good on social issues, but are still willing to do the bidding of corporations on economic issues. Those are the people who are beloved by the establishment. You don't hate gays and you don't hate minorities, but you also want to give tax cuts to corporations? Be still my beating heart. That's the establishment reaction. So it's hard not to conclude that somebody pulling the strings at Twitter just really likes Beto O'Rourke, and they said, we don't want you to make fun of him, and they pulled it down. So there you have it. Beto O'Rourke. Not allowed to make fun of Beto, apparently. How pathetic is this stuff, man? Just expand First Amendment protections to social media. Regulate them like public utilities. Lean as heavily as you can on the side of free speech. Obviously, if somebody does direct threats of violence, take action, pull it down. I understand regulating that. I understand regulating doxing and things like that. But outside of those basic things, lean on the side of free speech, because then you do shit like this and people hate it, and they're right to hate it. This is really dumb.